Hello everyone. These are the questions which I've got. We have to discuss among them. The first question is, with reference to coral bleaching, consider the following statement. I hope all of you know the coral bleaching. This is that phenomena where the coral polyps under various environmental stresses expel the algae living symbiotically with the coral polyps in their tissues. They're expelled. That situation is called as a coral bleaching. So first of all, coral bleaching is not the death of corals. B, coral bleaching where the coral polyps have expelled the algae, the zooxanthellae, or the algae which were living in symbiotic association with the coral polyps belonging to the genus Symbiodinium. These are the microalgae, unicellular microalgae, whatever name is written there. Now, coral bleaching occurs when the symbiotic relationship between the host coral and algae breaks down. Absolutely right. So that is one. Absolutely right. Once bleaching takes place, the coral reefs cannot recover from it, leading to death. Now, 2 points are there. Coral bleaching may lead to the death of coral. Yes, it may lead to the death of coral, but it is not the death of coral. Number 2, may they recover from the coral bleaching? Yes. So if the question comes, you remember in 2 ways the statement. Number 1 is coral bleaching may lead to death of corals. May lead to death of corals. It means this may be one of the reasons why in the later phases the corals, because of the starvation, or they may suffer because of the various diseases, and because of this the corals may die. So the principal food supply was coming with the help of those algae, and when the algae go away or algae are expelled, in that case the coral may die. So point is, coral bleaching takes place and coral reefs cannot recover. Wrong. They can recover. So this part is wrong. Cannot recover? No, they can recover. So this is wrong. India has set up a coral bleaching alert system. Yes, India has set up a coral bleaching alert system under INCOIS, Earth System Science Organization, Indian National Center for Ocean Information Services, that is INCOIS, Hyderabad, under Ministry of Earth Sciences. Under Ministry of Earth Sciences, so we have this coral bleaching alert system, report and issue warning. So that statement is correct. Here answer is 1 and 3. So that is 1 and 3 is correct. That is answer is D. Next is Singalila National Park, often mentioned in news, is located in, straightforward question is there, the state where it belongs to. If you see the 4 options which are given, if I tell you Assam, that is Manas, Nameri, Orang, Kaziranga, the biggest of Assam. Orang is the smallest of Assam National Park. Kaziranga, which is also having the largest one-horned rhino population in the world. Manas, Nameri, Orang, or also called as Rajiv Gandhi Orang, Kaziranga, Dibru Saikhowa, as well as Dehing Patkai, and Raimuna. So these are the 7 national parks from Assam. If you see West Bengal, in West Bengal we have the Sundarban. The biggest of West Bengal is Sundarban. Then we have Buksa, Gorumara, Neura Valley National Park. Then we have Jaldapara, and as well as we have Singalila. So Singalila National Park, that is from where? It is from West Bengal. Arunachal Pradesh, we have 2. One is Mauling and second is Namdapha. Namdapha is bigger than Mauling. In fact, Namdapha is bigger than the Sundarban also, which is the biggest of West Bengal, right? This is biggest of West Bengal. Singalila is the smallest of West Bengal. Kaziranga is biggest of Assam. Orang is smallest of Assam. Sikkim has got only 1, and that is Kanchenjunga National Park. So easily you can see the answer would be what? Answer is West Bengal. Singalila is there. It's national park, often mentioned in the news, is located in which of the following states, right? Next is consider the following statement. Species invading a bare area are called pioneer species. Question from ecological succession. Species invading a bare area are called as a pioneer species. You may have seen in the class pioneer, Cyril and the climax, the one which comes in the very beginning, occupy the empty area, the bare area, when the nudation has taken place, either already it was existing or has been caused by any anthropogenic or natural factor. So that's bare area is occupied by the pioneer species. So that statement is absolutely right. Xerarch succession takes place in wet areas. We have seen in the class two type of ecological succession. One is ecological succession starting from the extremely wet areas, so the ecological succession is starting from the extremely dry areas. In case of starting from the dry areas, it is called as a xerarch, or in case of starting from the extremely wet area, it is called the hydrarch. So hydrarch is from the wet area, not the xerarch. So answer should be what? Answer should be hydrarch. Hydrarch is from the wet areas, xerarch is from the dry area. So that statement becomes incorrect. Species are dependent on the condition of the soil, availability of water and the environment where the secondary succession takes place. See this, we have already seen in the class. Eventually, what kind of a species will occupy a particular area will be determined dominated mainly by the factor what kind of a conditions do exist over there. Among those conditions is what type of climatic conditions are there, what type of soil type is there, what type of topographical features may be there. So they all may contribute in determining what type of species eventually will be present in the community which is found into those particular areas. So species are dependent on the condition of the soil, availability of water and the environment where the secondary succession takes place. Absolutely right. So second statement is incorrect, first and third statement correct. Answer should be 1 and 3 only, that is A, that we have seen. Next is, with reference to red plus, consider the following statement. As a concept, coalition of rainforest nations in 2005 presented the idea under the leadership of Costa Rica and Papua New Guinea that was called as the RED, reducing emission from deforestation in developing countries. Then it was called as reducing emission from deforestation in developing countries. Later on, under the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, various conference of parties they discussed about addressing this one important issue where we can reduce the emission which is related to avoiding the deforestation and the degradation of forest. And eventually we see that the RED coming into policy measures with this COP13 2007 when we had a Bali action plan coming there. So in this Bali action plan, they also talked about the reducing emission from deforestation and degradation of forest or forest degradation. So from that initial 2005 presentation of reducing emission from deforestation in developing countries, it became reducing emission from deforestation and degradation of forest or forest degradation, although at the core remain the developing countries only. So the countries which will be eligible for getting the technical support and as well as the financial support will be developing countries only. So that's later on what happened when the COP 19 took place in 2013 in Versailles, right? And when this meeting took place over here, there was adoption of the Warsaw framework, and this Warsaw framework was related to the RED plus. But before that, remember, even when the meeting took place in Cancun also they took a decision with respect to the RED plus. So RED plus decision was also taken in the Cancun. Please remember, and that's why the question comes in the examination. Do not get confused. Do not get confused over here. Please remember, if you talk about the COP16, and that COP16 took place in 2010, and that took place in Cancun, where we have a Cancun adaptation framework also with respect to the adaptation mainly focusing. So here there was a decision on RED plus. United Nations, this is a COP16 of United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change on RED plus. So decision was taken here, COP16 2010 Cancun. Decision on RED plus was there. Actually, in principle, what would be under the RED plus, it was already adopted here. And in this RED plus, there were the 5 important key areas to be focused upon. And what were the 5 key areas here? One was reducing emission. Reducing emission from deforestation. Reducing emission from deforestation. Second was reducing emission from degradation of forest, or simply we call it as a forest degradation. Whatever I'm writing on board, right, I keep on speaking the same information, so keep on listening also. Reducing emission from deforestation, reducing emission from forest degradation. Then there was conservation of forest carbon stock. So there was conservation of forest carbon stock. We already seen in the class, forest carbon stock means carbon captured and stored in forest carbon stock. And then there was sustainable management of forests. Sustainable management of forests. Sustainable management of forests. and then there was enhancing forest carbon stock, enhancing forest carbon stock, enhancing forest carbon stock. So you can see 5 important points are there. Reducing emission from deforestation, reducing emission from forest degradation. If we see the journey from red, initially red was reducing emission from deforestation in developing countries. When the 2005 Papua New Guinea Costa Rica led coalition for rainforest nation, coalition of rainforest nations came together, this idea in 2005. But later on in 2007, when the Bali meeting was there, they adopted the red, and plus they started the discussion with respect to going further from the red, and eventually in 2010 there was a decision in Cancun with respect to the red plus. What is red plus here? So it is difference between the red and the red plus. Red only focus on the first 2 points over there. If I say 1 and 2, what is the 1 and 2? Reducing emission from deforestation, reducing emission from forest degradation. Red plus focus on the 5 points, 2 this and 3 more. 3 is what? Enhancing forest carbon stock, conserving the forest carbon stock, and as well as sustainable management of forests. And then when the meeting took place in Warsaw in 2013, when the United Nations Framework Convention Climate Change 19th Conference of Parties was there, they prepared one framework that is called as a Red Plus framework, and that Red Plus framework is also called as Red Plus framework is a Warsaw framework. So that Warsaw framework is Red Plus framework. So in the question sometimes it is simply written Red Plus is commonly known as a Warsaw framework. Yes, that was a Red Plus framework called as a Warsaw framework. So that's correct. In India, Red Plus covers, Red Plus covers trees in forest areas only, not. It cover, actually, this question has a little technical aspect to that. If you talk about the Red Plus, it is only focusing in the forest. But when India has prepared the national policy on Red Plus, now in case of the Red Plus program, there are the 2 important principles are there. Red Plus recognizes 2 important things over there. Red Plus recognizes the 2 important principles. One is what? The principle of national circumstances. Principle of national circumstances. And number 2 is what? It also recognizes the principle of respective capabilities. Who is more capable, who is less capable. So it is recognizing the principle of respective capabilities and as well as the principle of national circumstances. India, when it has prepared its own national policy, national strategy on Red Plus, under this, when we define the forest, we say not only those forests which are recorded as forest, but also the trees which are outside the forest also will be covered when it comes to the Red Plus. So in India, the Red Plus covers both. It covers the forest and as well as it covers the trees outside forest. I'm writing TOF. It means the trees outside forest. For example, agroforestry, urban forestry, peri-urban forestry, various plantations, etc., on the wasteland, etc. All these areas are also included over here. We have seen in the Forest Survey of India report that any land area, irrespective of legal status or ownership rights prevailing over there, or kind of trees which are found over there, irrespective of that, if any land area which is having a minimum area of 1 hectare and having a tree canopy density of 10% or more will be considered as a forest. So that definition is also applicable over here. But also remember, any area which is not having a tree canopy density of 10%, but the significant tree presence is there, they have a potential of acting as a carbon sink. So even if they do not have a tree canopy density 10%, and if the area is less than 1 hectare, still it may be considered as a part of Red Plus. So Red Plus broadens the spectrum, the coverage of the trees. Not only it says the forests which are recorded as a forest, even if they're not recorded as a forest, but if they have the area that as per FSI definition of forest, still as per the Indian State of the Forest report, still it will be part of the Red Plus. Plus, even if these areas are having a minimum mapping unit less than 1 hectare, tree canopy density less than 10%, but they hold the potential of acting as a carbon sink, it will be considered as a part of Red Plus. So it covers forest areas only, no, not only the forest areas, it also covers the areas outside the forest cover. However, if the same question comes in the examination some other day, and if it is given the option, example, the first option is forest is written, second option is written trees outside forest, third option is written the grassland, third option is written as a grassland or grassland, or fourth option is written the phytoplanktons. They also act as an important carbon sink route. We have seen in the class biological carbon pump, and phytoplanktons one of the efficient primary producers, especially in the marine ecosystem. They capture CO2 from the atmosphere through photosynthesis. Half of the global oxygen is produced by the phytoplanktons. If the question comes in that way, phytoplanktons are not covered, grasslands are not covered, the pristine natural grasslands are not covered under the red plus. But forests are covered, trees outside forests are covered, even if the canopy density is less than 10%, or if the minimum mapping unit is less than 1 hectare. When it comes to the blue carbon ecosystem, especially mangroves and sea grasses, or example, if you see salt marshes, many of those areas are also not covered. Some of those, especially the mangrove forest, these forests may be covered in the red plus, but still many of those blue carbon ecosystems are not covered. So question becomes, some blue carbon ecosystems are not covered. Yes, some blue carbon ecosystems are not covered. Phytoplanktons are not covered. Pristine natural grasslands are not covered. Trees outside forests are covered. The forest areas are covered when it comes to the India's red plus strategy. I hope you got the question right, understood this. Next is, consider the following statement: the provision of the Wetlands Conservation and Management Rules 2017 applies to wetlands notified under the rules by the central government only. We have already seen in the class that Wetlands Conservation Management Rules 2017 focuses on decentralization of power with respect to the wetlands, and under the rules, it's a state government to identify, to notify the wetlands, and in those cases, the rules will be applicable there. So statement number 1 becomes wrong. This becomes wrong. When it comes to the statement number 2, human-made wetlands, human-made water bodies specifically constructed for aquaculture purposes are considered wetland under the Wetland Rule 2017. I already told you, when the question comes in the examination, do not look for too much of a grammatical and as well as a technical accuracy also. Now, if we go for the technical accuracy, they are not considered as a wetlands. They are wetlands, but they are not covered by the scope of the rules. It means these rules would not apply to those areas. So what the statement meant by this is, human-made water bodies specifically constructed for aquaculture purposes are not the areas where the Wetlands Rule 2017 would be applicable, right? In those cases, absolutely right. Human-made wetlands, when we talk about example, those wetlands, not all, but those wetlands which are specifically constructed for the drinking water purposes, for aquaculture purposes, for salt production purposes, for recreational purposes, for irrigation purposes, or those which are the river channels, or those which are the rice cultivation wetlands or paddy field wetlands, those are not covered by the Wetlands Conservation Management Rules 2017. So these rules are not applicable to river channels, paddy fields, rice cultivation, water bodies specifically constructed for the drinking water purposes, irrigation purposes, salt production purposes, recreation purposes, aquaculture purposes, not covered. So that statement is right. Now, when it comes to the what is written, sorry, human-made wetlands specifically constructed for the are considered wetlands. So no, they are not considered as, there are considered wetlands, means here, are these rules applicable to them? No, these rules are not applicable to them. So human-made water bodies specifically constructed for aquaculture purposes are, no, not, right, are not. I have already told you where the rules are not applicable. The National Wetland Atlas has been prepared under the National Wetlands Inventory and Assessment Project, yes, and this is prepared by the Space Application Center under Indian Space Research Organization, that is ISRO. So Space Application Center under ISRO has prepared the National Wetland Atlas, which is prepared under the National Wetlands Inventory Assessment Project. That's one. So 1 is incorrect, 2 is incorrect, and 3 is correct. What is the question? Which of the following statement given above is obligor not correct? In this, not correct is 1 and 2. So answer would be B. 1 and 2 are not correct. Not correct. Restoration barometer report, we have already seen in the current affairs classes also. I think we have covered. Restoration barometer report is published by which of the following bodies? The answer is IUCN, International Union for Conservation of Nature. A. Next is Oran community. This also we have seen in the current affairs classes. Conserved sacred spaces are found in which of the following states? We have seen in class in great detail about this. That is Gujarat, Kerala, Karnataka, Rajasthan. Answer is what? Rajasthan. Oran community conserved spaces. Orans are especially in Rajasthan. Next is, so Orans, Rajasthan. Next is Green Grid Initiative, One Sun, One World, One Grid, we have seen is a joint initiative of India with which of the following nations? India with UK, right? That is India with UK. So answer here is India and UK. India and UK. Next is, they are straightforward questions, so not much to discuss about them. Wherever we have seen more complexities were there, we have tried to understand those areas. With reference to loss and damage fund formed at the COP27 United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, consider the following statement. It is based on the universally acknowledged polluter pays principle. Absolutely right. Polluter pays principle to inculcate the negative externalities. The countries which are responsible more have relatively better capabilities based on the principle CBDR-RC, Rio Principle 7. And plus, there is an important principle, the polluter pays principle, that is Rio Principle number 16. Polluter pays principle is one of the principles which is at the core of the loss and the damage fund. Yes, absolutely right. The Warsaw International Mechanism for Loss and Damage was the first such type of formal acknowledgement. When the meeting took place here in Warsaw, we have already seen a short while back when we were talking about the COP19. COP19 took place in 2013, and not 2013, it took place in Warsaw. When the meeting took place here, there came the Warsaw International Mechanism for Loss and Damage. That WIM, technically, WIM conceptually acknowledge the concept of the loss and damage, especially in case of the vulnerable countries, which would be suffering more because of the extreme weather events caused mainly due to the global warming led climate change. So there shall be a fund which will be helping those countries to develop resilience, to develop capabilities, to address the situation, to live into those changing conditions there. So that is absolutely right, Warsaw International Mechanism on Loss and Damage, but it did not prepare a framework. We have seen in the class, middle income countries will not be compensated out of the fund. It mainly talks about the vulnerable developing countries, and among them the countries may be middle income countries also. So that middle income countries is wrong. Principally, it is talking about the developing countries which are vulnerable, and those countries may be a middle income countries also. So it will not be compensated out of the fund. That statement is incorrect. That statement is correct. That statement is correct. Let's see what is asked in the question. Which of the statement given above is our correct? 1 is correct, 2 is correct, but the 3 is incorrect. So answer would be A, 1 and 2 only. Next is, I think this is the last question, right? So, okay, we have done all those questions, right? Thank you very much for listening to me. We'll meet whenever we meet. Till then, take care of yourself.
What are the important parts of the Industry 4.0? First is cloud. Cloud technology means cloud computing. Cloud computing, as you all know, has got the dimensions like it has software as a service, platform as a service, and then obviously infrastructure as a service. So cloud here means the remote servers connected, servers at the remote location connected with the internet is called cloud technology. Blockchain, which is also known as distributed ledger technology. This is known as distributed ledger technology. Machine learning, which is a part of artificial intelligence. If this is AI, then this is machine learning, and this is deep learning. So machine learning is learning from the data. Then augmented reality. Augmented reality means when you are trying to improve the experience of the people by imposing the digital technology on something which exists in reality, is augmented reality. Additive manufacturing, this is also known as 3D technology, 3D printing. So what exactly for Industry 4.0? See, Industry 4.0, the term was used by World Economic Forum founder Klaus Schwab. He was the one who used this term. Klaus Schwab was the one who used the term Industry 4.0. So here the answer is D. All the 5 are a part of Industry 4.0. Augmented reality, which is going to be a part of metaverse, along with virtual reality and the mixed reality. Machine learning is artificial intelligence, blockchain technology, cryptocurrencies, cloud computing, and 3D printing. So they all, answer is D. for this particular question. That is question number 7. Answer is D. Now move to the next question. See the next question here. Before that, I need to remove. Geobacters. Geobacter means it is basically Geobacter is an anaerobic bacteria. Anaerobic bacteria. Anaerobic bacteria, and it is used for bioremediation. Bioremediation. Bioremediation is anything which addresses the pollutants. So it can convert petroleum compounds into carbon dioxide. Obviously, it can address the radioactive elements. So they can reduce iron to magnetite. Yes, it can reduce iron to magnetite. These have applications in cleaning of water and soil polluted. I said bioremediation. Bioremediation. Oil. It can convert oil into carbon dioxide. Okay. So if it can convert oil into carbon dioxide, which will go into the atmosphere, they can be used up to clean up sites that are contaminated with radioactive elements. Yes, it can remove iron, it can remove petrol, it can remove the radioactive elements. And Geobacter is an anaerobic bacteria which is used for bioremediation. So answer for this question is 1, 2 and 3, that is Geobacters. So what bit of an additional information, it is anaerobic and it is used for what? Bioremediation. That's as simple as this. Now move to the next question. But before I move to the next question, let me remove this. Question number 9, gravitational lensing. So what is gravitational lensing? Gravitational lensing is the bending of the light by the massive objects. And gravitational lensing is an evidence in support of general theory of relativity. So what is gravitational lensing? When the light is being bent by the massive objects in the space, that is called gravitational lensing. So first statement is correct. Extremely massive celestial bodies acts as gravitational lensing. Extremely massive celestial bodies like the black holes, they act as gravitational lenses. That is absolutely true. And using gravitational lensing, distorted images of the distant objects can be observed. Yes, it distorts the image. Like say for example, if the light was coming like this, if this is a black hole and light was coming like this, it will bend the light. So if we project it, the image will be seen somewhere here. So it distorts the image. So here the answer is all the 3 statements are correct. So gravitational lenses are an evidence in support of general theory of relativity. General theory of relativity was given by Einstein in the year 1915 to conceptualize gravity. According to general theory of relativity, gravity is because of the curvature by the massive objects in the space. And the evidences which have come in favor of general theory of relativity, one of them has been the gravitational lensing. Recently, James Webb Space Telescope has also shown the gravitational lensing by a cluster of galaxies known as SMAC 0723. It's a cluster of galaxies which is responsible for gravitational lensing. So this answer again, answer D. So we are having D, but don't take it for granted that it is always going to be day. Okay, now move to the next question. Okay, that is refers to the Roche limit. Roche. See, Roche limit in this case that is often mentioned. It is the minimum distance to which a satellite can approach its primary body without being torn apart. देखो जैसे एक अर्थ है, अर्थ जो है उसको एक अपनी ग्रेविटी की वजह से it is being hold on to in its shape. Now, obviously, what is the primary body around which Earth is moving? Earth is moving around Sun. So, and there is a tidal force because of the Sun. So, if Earth will go too close to the Sun, then because of the tidal force of the Sun, this Earth will be torn apart. Similarly, Earth has also got the satellite Moon. If Moon will come too close to the Earth, then it will be torn apart by the tidal forces of the Earth. So, it is the minimum distance at which a satellite can approach its primary body without being torn apart. Matlab, if this is Earth, say this is the Roche limit, and this is Moon. Now, this is the point. Up to this point, Moon will be safe. If Moon will come here, then Moon will be torn apart. So, this is Roche limit. Answer is A. Fine. This was, then again move to the next question. Virtual private network. Now, virtual private network is in news because of the VPN rules. As per those VPN rules, the virtual private network service providers have to keep the logs for 180 days and the data for 5 years. A virtual private network establishes a secure encrypted connection between a computer and the internet. तो वो आपका IP एड्रेस को encrypt कर देता है, प्रोटोकॉल को encrypt कर देता है. Okay, wonderful. Virtual private network hides the internet protocol address by letting the network redirect through a specially configured remote server run by a virtual private network. तो वो आपकी identity को hide करता है, okay, और आपको एक remote server से it takes you through a remote server to the particular site. It is obviously true. So in this question, both the statements are right. So answer is C. A secure encrypted connection between a computer and the internet. So encryption कर लिया, protocol का भी encryption कर देता है और IP address का भी encryption कर देता है. Hides the internet protocol address by letting the network. Yes. तो वो आपको, if you are opting for VPN server, then VPN services, then it will take you through a remote server. So answer is, for this 12th question is C. Now move to the next one. Saras 3. Saras 3 is a radio telescope. First and foremost, it's a radio telescope. It is indigenously designed and built by ISRO. No, it is not designed and built by ISRO. It has been designed and built by Raman Research Institute. So it is, this first statement is wrong. The telescope is deployed at Devasthal Hill in Uttarakhand. No, it is in northern Karnataka. Northern Karnataka. Okay, so second statement is also wrong. So if you see second statement, first and second is wrong. So this cannot be the answer. This cannot be the answer. Okay. This cannot be the answer, so then you are left with only this as the answer. So we can apply the elimination also here. Using data from Saras 3, researchers estimated the energy output, luminosity and masses of the first generation of galaxies. Saras 3 will be used for, besides this, it will also be used for studying cosmic microwave background. And the energy coming from the first generation of the galaxies. First generation of the galaxies means those galaxies which were formed obviously after first to be formed after the Big Bang. So remember, first and second statement is wrong. It is in northern Karnataka. Okay, earlier it was in Anantapur district of Andhra Pradesh. Now it is in northern Karnataka. And second, it is by Raman Research Institute, not by ISRO. Continue further. Let me remove this. Now move to the next question. mRNA vaccines. mRNA vaccines. mRNA technology, it is the latest technology. So it is the latest technology. So here what we do, we identify the particular antigen on the surface of the virus. Antigen, like in case of COVID-19, we identified the spike protein, which is on the surface of COVID. Then we identified the gene, and for this gene we synthesize the mRNA. This mRNA is used as a vaccine. So first and foremost, here I have not mentioned anywhere that the inactivated virus. See, inactivated virus vaccine is Covaxin. It's not, this mRNA vaccine. So first statement is wrong. Second statement, unlike conventional vaccine, yes, it takes less time, less cost, and easy. So time is less, cost is less, and it is easy, and it is latest. So statement 2 is wrong. Sorry, statement 2 is right. Statement 2 is right. Then in this case, the mRNA vaccine deliver mRNA directly to the cytoplasm where it is translated by Ayaz. देखो mRNA गया. This mRNA is picked up by dendritic cells. Dendritic cells are a part of our immune system, and then in these dendritic cells, spike protein is synthesized. Translation. So yes, this statement is also right. So it is directly into the cytoplasm where the translation takes place. Translation means the synthesis of the protein, which is then this spike protein is identified by the T cell, and then T cell informs the B cell, and then B cell forms the antibodies, and these antibodies then kill the pathogen, okay, which will be there in case of future infection. So this was a bit of an extra information. So answer is C, 2 and 3. I told you inactivated virus vaccine for COVID-19 is Covaxin by Bharat Biotech Limited. Okay, so let's move to the next question after this. Okay, now move to the next one. Arrange the following regions of the solar system in the order from closest to the farthest from the Earth. So like rings, like asteroid belt. So if see asteroid belt is between Mars and Jupiter. And if you see Kuiper belt is after Neptune. Oort cloud is beyond Kuiper belt, and then rings of Saturn. rings of Saturn. So the closest will be, come on, you all know. Closest is this asteroid belt, then rings of Saturn, then Kuiper belt, then the Oort cloud. 2, 4, 1, 3 is the order. So answer is C. 2, 4, 1, 3. Kuiper belt is the region where there are icy objects beyond Neptune. Okay, asteroid you all know. Oort cloud is beyond the Kuiper belt, and rings of the Saturn. So this was there. It's, I think, easy question, but this is the only thing you need to know. Rest, I think, you can easily work out. So now move to the next one. Answer is C for this question. 2, 4, 1, 3. It was an experiment that was designed to test a method of deflecting an asteroid for planetary defense. Using the kinetic impactor technique, the experiment in question refers to which of the following? It's like, this is DART. Answer is DART, double asteroid redirection test. So redirection test, which was recently carried out. Didymos was there, and it was deflected by using, so answer is A. It was easy question. DART, अगर जैसे asteroid deflection की बात आ रही है, तो you have to go for only DART. After DART, okay. Consider the following statements. The Goldilocks zone is a region around a star where a planet's surface temperature is in the range needed to harbor liquid water. See, Goldilocks zone is that distance from the star where the liquid water is present. So statement 1 is correct. Kuiper belt is a region of icy objects that contains trans-Neptunian objects, which I have just told you. These are icy objects beyond the Neptune. So 2 is also correct. Asteroid belt is a region between Jupiter and Saturn that contains it. You all know it is between Mars and Jupiter. So statement 3 is wrong. Answer is simple. First is correct, second is correct, third is wrong. It is between Mars and Jupiter. So answer is A for this question. Clear? So now move to the next one. Dysprosium, terbium, praseodymium, sometimes seen in the news, are related to which of the following? Answer is rare earth element. Rare earths. See, rare earth elements are 17 elements. 17. 15 are, come on. 15 are lanthanides. 15 lanthanides, and 2 are scandium and yttrium. Cerium is the most abundant. Cerium is the most abundant, although the name is rare earth. Cerium is 3 times the concentration of lead. So answer is B, rare earth element. Then, which of the following statements are correct with reference to measles? It is a zoonotic disease most prevalent in cats. Come on, it is not a zoonotic disease. First and foremost, it is spreads through human contact, and human beings are the only carriers of this measles virus. So first statement is wrong. It is particularly common in African and Asian countries. Yes. Rubella, known as German measles. Yes, rubella is known as German measles. Is caused by the same virus that caused measles. No. Rubella is caused by rubella virus. So virus is different. So statement number first and 3 are incorrect. The correct statement is 2 only. 2 only. Fine. So 2 only is the answer, because first, it is not at all zoonotic disease, and rubella is caused by this German measles is caused by rubella virus, and that one is caused by measles virus, and humans are the only reservoir of this virus. Sure. So I don't think now there is any question. Wish you all the best. Do not worry, do not panic. After 6th, you will be having around 20 days, 21 days. Pick up 2-3 subjects which you think can be the game changer for you, and focus on them. And if you can convert 30-40 questions from 2-3 subjects which are there, then you will sail through preliminary exam. My best wishes to all of you, and wish to see you, all of you, when you will be writing your mains. Thank you very much.
Hello everyone. I hope आप सभी की preparation बहुत अच्छी चल रही होगी. And this अनुभव that you have just given, it has given you a holistic experience of how a UPSC prelims is going to be. And hopefully आप सबने इसमें काफ़ी अच्छा perform किया होगा, just like you are going to perform in your UPSC. So in today's paper discussion that we are doing over here, I'll be taking only few questions. Although I was supposed to take current affairs, but as you all know, कि आपके जो करंट अफेयर के क्वेश्चंस हैं, दे हैव बीन मर्ज्ड विद द पर्टिकुलर सब्जेक्ट, राइट? कि जो इकोनॉमी के क्वेश्चंस हैं करंट अफेयर के, वो इकोनॉमी में डील हो रहे हैं, जो पॉलिटी के हैं वो पॉलिटी में डील हो रहे हैं. सो वी विल टेक अप सम टॉपिक्स ओवर हियर which are basically miscellaneous in nature, as the name suggests over here, right? So without wasting any time further, let's start with the questions. Let's start with question number 15. Although again a question of economy per se, but here the question is about bad bank. Government of India has recently come up with this concept of bad bank. Although they are not calling it as a bad bank, what is a bad bank first of all ये पता होना चाहिए. पहले एक बारी क्वेश्चन देखते हैं और फिर इसके डिस्कशन पे आते हैं. सो द फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन ओवर हियर इज विद रेफरेंस टू नेशनल एसेट रिकंस्ट्रक्शन कंपनी लिमिटेड कंसिडर द फॉलोइंग स्टेटमेंट. व्हाट इज दिस NARCL? दे आर टॉकिंग अबाउट कि सर दे आर आस्किंग अबाउट NARCL. सो NARCL इज in itself, basically there are two parts in our bad bank that the government has constructed. One is your IDRCL and the other is your NARCL. Although the question statement mentions NARCL, but if you see the second statement over here, they have also talked about your IDRCL. So इन दोनों चीजों को अभी समझते हैं क्या है. पहले स्टेटमेंट देखते हैं. It is a private entity with a majority stake and the balance held by the private banks, right? अब यहाँ पे दोनों जगह पे हमने क्या यूज किया हुआ है, प्राइवेट एंटिटी, मेजॉरिटी स्टेक और बैलेंस भी हेल्ड बाय प्राइवेट बैंक, विच इज नॉट द केस. द केस इज दैट इट इज बेसिकली अंडर एंड इन NARCL द मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द स्टेक इज होल्ड बाय नॉट प्राइवेट बैंक बट योर पब्लिक सेक्टर बैंक्स, PSBs. एंड इन केस ऑफ your IDRCL, the majority stake, that is 51%, is with private sector. I will give you in detail also, right? Second statement is, so your first statement is wrong. Second statement is, Indian Debt Resolution Company Limited manages the assets and engages market professionals. Yes, that is the function of IDRCL. So both these two have different functions. NARCL का क्या function है? To basically collect all the loans or bad loans which has become NPA in all the banks, bring them together and try to give a valuation to that, provide the money to the banks which have given their bad loans, and your IDRCL will basically try to recover that money, right? इनका काम ही ये है कि उन assets को, जो कि खराब assets हैं, bad assets हैं, उन्हें manage करना and use the market professionals को use करके उनसे recover कराना, जितने भी ज़्यादा percentage में recover करा सके, right? Then NARCL is registered with the Ministry of Finance as an asset reconstruction company. Again, this statement is also wrong. it is not registered with Ministry of Finance. It is registered under Companies Act and has gotten a license from RBI to function like a bank. Registered under Companies Act, listen to me carefully, registered under Companies Act and license has been provided by RBI. I'm talking about NARCL, right? So आपकी पहली स्टेटमेंट भी गलत है और दूसरी स्टेटमेंट भी गलत है. अब देखते हैं क्वेश्चन क्या पूछ रहा है. विच ऑफ द स्टेटमेंट गिवन अबव इज और आर करेक्ट. करेक्ट पूछ रहा है. सो ओनली स्टेटमेंट 2 इज करेक्ट एंड दैट वुड बी योर आंसर, राइट. आंसर विल बी 2. अब बात करते हैं कि सर ये कंसेप्ट क्या है. अब ये भी बात कर लेते हैं. व्हाट इज बैड बैंक. बैड बैंक इन इटसेल्फ इज नॉट बैड. नाम से लग रहा है कि सर गंदा बैंक है. नहीं, वो और दूसरे लोगों का जो एनपीए हो गया है या जो एसेट्स परफॉर्म करके नहीं दे रहे हैं, विच हैज बिकम अ liability on the bank's balance sheet. These bank has been created by the government, जहां पे उसे कुछ फंड दिया गया है, and they have been basically given a task कि आप सारे बैंक से उनके stressed assets को लो and you try to recover as much as possible so that कि आपकी जो बैंक्स की बैलेंस शीट है वो उसे क्लियर कर सकें, so that they can increase their lending, right. वो अपना खर्चा, वो अपनी lending बढ़ा सकें, because lending is something through which banks earn money. राइट. सो दिस इज व्हाट द कंसेप्ट इज ऑफ. इसके अंदर हमने दो एंटिटीज बनाई हैं, NARCL एंड IDRCL. सो आपकी NARCL क्या करेगी. NARCL का काम है कि वैल्यूएशन करना, कि मान लो कि आपका SBI है, कैनरा बैंक है, HDFC है, PNB है, इन सब के पास कुछ ऐसे लोन्स हैं जिनमें ना इंटरेस्ट वापस आ रहा है ना आपका प्रिंसिपल वापस आ रहा है. तो ये क्या करेंगे कि ये उस एसेट को चेक करेंगे कि अच्छा भैया आपने ये 100 रुपए दिए हुए थे किसी को. नाउ दिस 100 रुपीज दैट यू हैव गिवन, they are not returning you anything. Now let us evaluate कि हम इसमें से इसे रीस्ट्रक्चर करके, एसेट रीस्ट्रक्चरिंग कंपनी ARCs जो होती हैं, जो उनका काम होता है, वही यहाँ पे काम हो रहा है, राइट. सो दे विल आइडेंटिफाई कि आप इसमें से कितना रिटर्न वापस ला सकते हैं, और उस वैल्यूएशन पे इफ द बैंक्स एग्री, सो ये जो बैड लोन्स हैं दे विल मूव और दे विल बी शिफ्टेड टुवर्ड्स NARCL और उनकी बैलेंस शीट से हटा दिए जाएंगे. सर बैंक्स को क्या फायदा होगा फिर इससे. बैंक्स इन रिटर्न विल गेट द मनी. सपोज उन्होंने वैल्यूएशन कुछ लगाया, NARCL ने बोला कि आपके 100 रुपए थे, हम इसमें से आपको 30 रुपए वापस दिलाएंगे, राइट. 70 रुपए वापस नहीं आने, जो आपके इनकी एसेट्स हैं जिन्होंने आपसे लोन लिया है, अगर हम उन सबका वैल्यूएशन करें या जो हम इसे रीस्ट्रक्चर करें, सो हम इसमें से आपको अगले 5 साल में 30 रुपीज वी विल रिटर्न यू बैक, राइट. अब आप बोलेंगे कि सर ये तो नुकसान होगा. नुकसान तो होना ही था, पहले वहां पे 0 आ रहा था, अब एटलीस्ट बैंक को 30 मिल जाएगा. तो क्या सर ये 30 रुपए साथ के साथ दे देंगे. द आंसर इज नो. इन दिस ऑल्सो दिस वैल्यूएशन दैट दे विल टेक, इस वैल्यूएशन का लाइक 15% दे विल गिव इन कैश. जैसे ही आप उन्हें अपनी बैड एसेट दोगे, दे विल गिव यू 15% ऑफ दैट, राइट. 15% ऑफ दैट, जैसे कि 30 रुपए का उन्होंने आपको 4.5 रुपए तभी दे दिए, एंड द रिमेनिंग 85% दे विल गिव यू सिक्योरिटी रिसीट्स. दे विल गिव यू सिक्योरिटी रिसीट्स, राइट. सो क्या दे रहे हैं ये आपको. दे विल बी गिविंग यू सिक्योरिटी रिसीट्स विच विल बी बेसिकली बैक्ड बाय द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया, एंड इन द नेक्स्ट 5 ईयर दे प्रॉमिस यू कि आप ये रिसीट देके जो बचा हुआ 85% पैसा है, जो कि कितना है इस केस में, दैट 85% विल बी नथिंग, दैट 85% विल बी नथिंग, बट आप उसमें से 25.5 रुपीज जो बचे हुए हैं वो आपको अगले 5 साल में सिक्योरिटी रिसीट्स देने के बाद वो पैसा आपको यहां से मिल जाएगा. ये काम हुआ. NARCL ने वैल्यूएशन लगाया, एसेट्स लिए, अपने पास रख लिए. अब IDRCL क्या करेगा सर. फिर IDRCL इसे रिकवर करेगा. NARCL एक बैंक एंटिटी बन गया नाउ, विच ओनली हैज योर एसेट्स विच आर स्ट्रेस्ड. सारी स्ट्रेस्ड एसेट्स आपकी NARCL के पास आ गई, बैंक्स फ्री हो गए, बैंक्स की बैलेंस शीट में लिक्विडिटी बढ़ गई, प्लस उन्होंने जो यहां से आपको 15% मिला उस वैल्यूएशन का, उसे यूज करके वो आगे लैंड करेंगे और अर्निंग शुरू करेंगे, अपना काम धंधे पे लगेंगे. जो आपका IDRCL है वो क्या करेगा. दे विल हायर पीपल फ्रॉम आउटसाइड, दे विल हायर द प्रोफेशनल्स. बेसिकली वो वसूली करेंगे, राइट. दे विल ट्राई कि हमने जो वैल्यूएशन प्रॉमिस किया है, सपोज वी हैव वैल्यूड अ वैल्यूएशन ऑफ 30%, दे विल ट्राई कि एटलीस्ट हम 30% पैसा तो इससे वापस निकालें स्ट्रेस्ड एसेट से, एंड इफ पॉसिबल तो हम 40% भी निकालें, राइट. जो 10% एक्स्ट्रा आएगा वो इनका प्रॉफिट, बेसिकली दैट विल गो टू द गवर्नमेंट, NARCL और IDRCL के पास. अगर सर कम आया तो 30% नहीं निकल पाए तो then that is why the government is making budgetary allocation, some 36,000 crore rupees for this year and in the phase 1, and then they plan to basically increase it phase by phase, ताकि अगर बाई चांस जो आपकी सिक्योरिटी रिसीट्स दी हैं और स्ट्रेस्ड एसेट को बेसिकली रीस्ट्रक्चर करने के बाद उतना पैसा नहीं आता है, देन द रिमेनिंग अमाउंट जो डिफरेंस होगा, जो आपने एस्टिमेट किया था वैल्यूएशन में, and your valuation failed or you were not able to recover that money, that will be paid by the government, right? So government जो NARCL में कुछ initial funding देगी basically, वो initial funding किस लिए यूज होगी? to bridge that gap if required, और initially उन assets को खरीदने के लिए जो कैश देना है, जो 15% कैश देना है वैल्यूएशन का, इनिशियली उस कैश को पे करने के लिए, इसके लिए गवर्नमेंट ने इसमें कुछ बजटरी एलोकेशंस किए, राइट? अब देखते हैं कि सर कितना कितना क्या क्या किया है. सो 30,600 करोड़ इन गारंटीज टू बी प्रोवाइडेड बाय सेंटर टू बाय बैड लोन्स फ्रॉम बैंक्स ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ 5 ईयर. सो पहले 5 साल में बैंक से, जितने भी आपके बैंक्स हैं, उनसे खरीदने के लिए बैड लोन्स, तो उन्हें वो 15% देना है कैश की फॉर्म में. उसके लिए गवर्नमेंट ने 30,600 करोड़ 30,600 करोड़ हैज बीन प्रोवाइडेड, राइट? Who will purchase these bad loans and how? So NARCL has been incorporated under the Companies Act, as I just mentioned, and has applied for the RBI license. It will purchase bad loans at a discounted value. Discounted value मैंने आपको बताया 100 रुपए का bad loan है, they will purchase it at 30 rupees. Discounted value, right? At a discounted value from the banks under a 15:85 structure, where it will pay up to 15%. So ये इंपॉर्टेंट है कि 15:85 का स्ट्रक्चर है जो मैंने अभी आपको बताया. इन कैश 15% विल पेड इन कैश एंड इशू सिक्योरिटी रिसीट्स फॉर द रेस्ट 85%, राइट? ये भी हम देख चुके हैं सर. देन व्हाट विल दिस कवर? NARCL इज इंटेंडेड टू रिजॉल्व स्ट्रेस्ड लोन्स एसेट्स अबव 500 करोड़. सो ये सिर्फ ऐसी एसेट्स, दे विल नॉट टेक स्मॉल एसेट्स, दे विल बाय ओनली दोज एसेट्स विच आर worth more than 500 crore. Assets above 500 crore together amount of 2 lakh crore worth balance loans, right? So 2 lakh crore के bad loans ये NARCL परचेज करने का प्लान कर रही है, और every bad loan will be of the valuation of more than 500 crore. क्वेश्चन में ये पूछा नहीं गया था, but in your paper there can be a statement on this also. So very important कि क्या परचेज करेंगे जो 500 करोड़ से ज्यादा का होगा, प्लस द टोटल अमाउंट दैट द प्लानिंग कि बैड लोन्स कितने अमाउंट के परचेज करने वाले हैं, दैट विल बी 2 लाख करोड़, राइट? नाउ मूविंग अहेड, दीज आर सम इंफॉर्मेशन अबाउट द NARCL एंड द अदर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन दैट वी हैव फॉर्म. So what is National Asset Reconstruction Company? It has been incorporated in the Companies Act. We have already seen it is nothing but an asset reconstruction company. क्या है ये सर? It's a asset reconstruction company. ARC, NARCL has been set up by banks to aggregate and consolidate stressed assets for their subsequent resolution. Public sector banks will maintain 51% of the ownerships. So यहाँ पे ownerships उन्हीं के दे दी गई है जिनके खुद के loans हैं, right? Majority of the bad loans are with the public sector banks. So 51% stake हमेशा कौन रखेगा? Public sector bank. और 49% स्टेक कौन रखेगा? प्राइवेट सेक्टर बैंक. दिस कैन इंक्रीज, बट जो मिनिमम रखा जाएगा, और PSBs विल मेंटेन 51% ऑनरशिप इन द NARCL, राइट? 51% ऑनरशिप जो है वो पब्लिक सेक्टर बैंक्स मेंटेन करेंगे. नाउ व्हाट इज द इंडियन डेट रेजोल्यूशन कंपनी लिमिटेड? देन इट्स अ सर्विस कंपनी, operational entity which will manage the assets and engage market professionals and turnaround experts. Public sector banks and your public FIs will hold a maximum of 49% stake. So यहाँ पे ये minimum stake holder होंगे, और maximum यहाँ पे किसके पास जा रहा है? प्राइवेट एंटिटीज के पास, and the rest will be private sector lenders, right? So जो काम जो अच्छा कर सकता है. बैड लोन्स किसके पास ज्यादा थे? याद करने का तरीका, बैड लोन्स किसके पास ज्यादा है? पब्लिक सेक्टर बैंक्स के पास. सो NARCL में उन्हें मेजॉरिटी दे दी, और रीस्ट्रक्चर करके वसूली करने का काम कौन अच्छा करेगा? प्राइवेट लेंडर्स जो हैं, प्रोफेशनल्स जो हैं. सो वहां पे उन्हें मेजॉरिटी दे दी, राइट? इट हैज बीन बैलेंस्ड आउट. सो अगर IDRCL में पूछा जाए, सो इन IDRCL 51% विद प्राइवेट and 49% with public sector bank, and it is just opposite with respect to NARCL. NARCL में 51% is with sorry 51% is with public, right? Sorry, यहाँ पे प्राइवेट कर लो और यहाँ पे पब्लिक कर लो इनके लिए, right? That is the case. What will be NARCL's strategy for resolution of stressed asset? It is intended to resolve stressed loans of 500 crore each amounting about 2 lakh crores. In phase 1, fully provisioned assets of about 90,000 crores are expected to be transferred to NARCL, while the remaining assets with the lower provisions would be transferred in phase 2. Right? Phase 1 में 90,000 crore target कर रहे हैं और उसके बाद phase 2 में target कर रहे हैं बाकी. Existing ARCs have been helpful in resolution of stressed assets, including IBC, have been proven to be useful. However, considering the large stock of legacy NPAs, additional options, alternatives are needed, and the NARCL IRDCL structure announced in the union budget is the initiative. Right? पूछा गया कि भैया जब ऑलरेडी ARCs इतनी सारी हैं तो हम गवर्नमेंट की क्यों लेके आ रहे हैं, हम गवर्नमेंट का लोगों का पैसा क्यों इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हैं. सो इसमें इन्होंने मल्टीपल रीजंस गवर्नमेंट ने जस्टिफिकेशंस दिए हैं. पहले उन्होंने बोला है कि येस दे आर वर्किंग फाइन, नो डाउट, बट हमारे लोन्स बहुत ज्यादा हैं, दे कैन नॉट बी हैंडल्ड बाय द प्राइवेट प्लेयर्स फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल. सेकंड थिंग इज दे आर डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड, वो किसी एक एंटिटी के पास नहीं है, कई ऐसी एंटिटीज हैं विच हैव टेकन लोन्स फ्रॉम मल्टीपल बैंक्स और मल्टीपल एंटिटीज. सो वी नीड अ एग्रीगेटर काइंड ऑफ अ ARC. सो यहां पे ये एग्रीगेटर का काम करेगी. राइट, दिस इज द बेसिक कंसेप्ट. राइट, आई हैव प्रोवाइडेड सम अदर इंफॉर्मेशन ऑल्सो कि ये जो सरफेजी एक्ट के अंदर ARCs बनती हैं और बाकी सारी चीजें, बट आई डोंट थिंक कि इतना डिटेल में आपके प्रीलिम्स के लिए जरूरत है. इट इज फ्रॉम द मेंस पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू, बट हियर यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड कि जो अभी तक हमने बात की दैट इज मोर देन इनफ. वी हैव कवर्ड ऑल द एस्पेक्ट्स विद रिस्पेक्ट टू योर बैड बैंक. राइट, एंड बैड बैंक का आपको कंसेप्ट भी समझ आ गया होगा, ऑल्दो वी हैवंट गिवन द नेम टू दिस. नाउ these are the provisions or the powers or basically the measures that are surface under the SARFAESI Act and ARC can take. Why I am taking this? Because sometimes in the prelims we have seen such kind of questions that they will give you under SARFAESI Act which are all the activities that can be performed. So you should be aware about it. So SARFAESI Act stipulates various measures that can be undertaken by the asset reconstruction company for asset reconstruction. This includes क्या करते हैं एसेट रिकंस्ट्रक्शन में, आइदर दे विल टेक द मैनेजमेंट, टेक ओवर और चेंजिंग द मैनेजमेंट ऑफ द बिजनेस ऑफ द बोरोवर्स, सो दैट इफ अ बिजनेस इज मेकिंग कंटिन्यूअस लॉसेस इट कैन बी ट्रांसफॉर्म्ड एंड कन्वर्टेड इनटू अ प्रॉफिटेबल बिजनेस. राइट, व्हिच कैन हेल्प देम टू रीपे द लोन. सो पहला काम क्या कर सकते हैं वो लोग कि वहां पे मैनेजमेंट को चेंज कर दे. सेकेंड इज द सेल और लीज ऑफ बिजनेस ऑफ द बोरोवर. राइट, इफ पॉसिबल दे कैन ऑल्सो गो एंड सेल द बिजनेस और लीज इट आउट टू समवन एल्स. राइट, उन्हें लग रहा है कि हमसे नहीं होगा, मैनेजमेंट चेंज करके भी नहीं होगा, दे विल सेल इट और लीज इट आउट टू समवन एल्स एंड टेक द मनी फ्रॉम देम. वो बोलेंगे कि इस बिजनेस की वर्थ है 100 करोड़, बट हम 100 करोड़ की जगह आपको 40 करोड़ में दे रहे हैं, आप चलाओ जैसे चलाना है. द थर्ड स्टेप दैट कैन बी टेकन अंडर SARFAESI Act बाय द ARCs इज एंटरिंग इनटू सेटलमेंट्स. कि आप सेटलमेंट कर लो कंपनी के साथ कि आपका इतना लोन है, आप पूरा नहीं दे सकते हो, यू सेल आउट सम ऑफ योर assets and pay us 50%, 30%, 40% depending कि आपका settlement क्या होता है. Restructuring और rescheduling of debt. हमने कई बार देखा है कि what they do, they restructure the debt or reschedule it. Sometimes what happens, there are some projects which have a long gestation period, and now since the project was not able to get completed in time, so the amount of profit that it was supposed to earn is not there, and that is why there is no problem कि as such management में भी कोई problem नहीं थी, कोई दिक्कत नहीं थी, बट वो प्रोजेक्ट डिले हो गया. सपोज कोविड आ गया, कोई प्रोजेक्ट डिले हो गया एंड दे आर नाउ नॉट एबल टू रीपे द इंटरेस्ट और EMIs. इस वजह से वो क्या हो गया, आपका बैड एसेट बन गया. सो यहाँ पे वो क्या करेंगे, उसके लोन को रिस्ट्रक्चर और रीशेड्यूल कर देंगे कि आपकी EMIs को छोटा कर दिया, आपका जो टेन्योर था पहले 20 ईयर्स का लोन था, नाउ इट हैज बीन इंक्रीज टू 30 ईयर्स, आपकी EMIs छोटी कर दी गई है, नाउ स्टार्ट रीपेइंग. राइट, उससे क्या होगा कि पैसा आना शुरू हो जाएगा वापस से. राइट, और एनफोर्समेंट ऑफ सिक्योरिटी इंटरेस्ट. Right, these are the 5 major things that can be done under the SARFAESI Act by an ARC. Right, so ARCs जो है, I'm not talking about the bad bank or NARCL or IDRCL per se, but I'm just talking about normal ARCs जो हमारी बाकी 28 ARCs है उससे ज्यादा exist करती है इंडिया में. Right, so these ARCs can take all these measures. They also do the same kind of thing. वो बैंक से उनका बैड लोन लेते हैं, उस एसेट को रिस्ट्रक्चर करते हैं, उनका नाम ही है एसेट रिकंस्ट्रक्शन कंपनी. Right, that is what they do. Now moving to the next question. आई होप ये क्वेश्चन सबको क्लियर हो गया होगा. Right, moving to the next question. The next question is, with reference to traditional knowledge, consider the following statement. Again, something which is like with respect to biopiracy and traditional knowledge, which has been in the news continuously for multiple times. इसके ऊपर already mains में, I think in 2016 or 17 if I'm not wrong, there was a question in mains which was talking about your traditional knowledge digital library per se. So the questions which have already been asked in mains can be asked in prelims. Similarly, the themes on which questions have been asked in prelims, we have seen that this kind of things happen. So it's a very important question. यहाँ पे हम बात कर रहे हैं ट्रेडिशनल नॉलेज की, राइट. ट्रेडिशनल नॉलेज क्या है कि जो हमारे लाइक नॉट जस्ट इन इंडिया, सारी कंट्रीज में दे ऑल हैव सम देयर ओन ट्रेडिशनल नॉलेज, राइट. एंड द कंसेप्ट बेसिकली इट बिकेम वेरी एविडेंट इन इंडिया और बिकेम वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट इन इंडिया. देयर इज अ स्टोरी यू मस्ट हैव हर्ड अबाउट द यूज ऑफ टर्मरिक, हल्दी जो होती है. There was a USA filed for a patent, और a company in USA filed for a patent कि ये जो आपके हीलिंग प्रॉपर्टीज होती हैं टर्मरिक की, उसके लिए उन्होंने पेटेंट फाइल किया था. एंड गवर्नमेंट हैज टू फॉट अ लॉन्ग बैटल टू बेसिकली प्रूव दैट दिस एक्चुअली एग्जिस्ट इन इंडिया. व्हाई? बिकॉज द थिंग्स, अवर जो हमारी ट्रेडिशनल नॉलेज है, आइदर इट इज नॉट रिटन, इफ इट इज रिटन, it is written in our regional languages or some other languages which are not available with the agencies which are providing patent at the international level, right. अब वो संस्कृत में लिखे हुए हैं बहुत सारी चीजें हमारी ट्रेडिशनल नॉलेज के, राइट. इन अवर वेदास एंड ऑल वी हैव रिटन बहुत सारी चीजें हैं जो इस मेडिसिन के बारे में बताती हैं, उर्दू में लिखी हुई हैं. दे माइट बी रिटन इन अरेबिक. सो बिकॉज ऑफ द हिस्ट्री दैट वी हैव, द वेरिड काइंड ऑफ हिस्ट्री दैट वी हैव, सो वो हमारी डिफरेंट लैंग्वेजेस में लिखी हुई है. नन ऑफ दैट लैंग्वेज इज अवेलेबल जब पेटेंट फाइल किया जाता है. सो दे कैन नॉट वेरीफाई इट इफ इट्स फ्रॉम इंडिया और नॉट, एंड दैट्स व्हाई दे गिव द पेटेंट एंड वी हैव टू फाइल एंड फाइट अगेंस्ट दोज पेटेंट्स कि नहीं ये हमारा था. सो दैट्स व्हाई वी क्रिएटेड दिस ट्रेडिशनल नॉलेज डिजिटल लाइब्रेरी. आफ्टर दैट वी स्टार्टेड दिस प्रोजेक्ट, जहां पे हमने क्या किया कि हमने ट्रेडिशनल नॉलेज डिजिटल लाइब्रेरी के अंदर, TKDL के अंदर, वी ट्राइड कि हमारी जितनी भी ट्रेडिशनल नॉलेज है विद रिस्पेक्ट टू मेडिसिन एंड अदर थिंग्स, चाहे वो आपका योग हो गया, चाहे वो आपका आयुर्वेदा हो गया, चाहे वो आपका यूनानी हो गया, चाहे सिद्धा हो गया. सो वहाँ पे जो भी हमने इंफॉर्मेशन है मेडिसिनल रिलेटेड, उसे हमने कुछ 5-6 लैंग्वेजेस में, 5 लैंग्वेजेस में कन्वर्ट किया. एंड वी हैव क्रिएटेड अ लाइब्रेरी, और उस लाइब्रेरी की एक्सेस हमने बहुत सारी मेजर जो कंट्रीज हैं, आई थिंक 13 और समथिंग कंट्रीज को, हमने उनकी पेटेंट एजेंसीज को उस लाइब्रेरी की एक्सेस दी कि इफ समबडी फाइल्स अ पेटेंट एट योर प्लेस, देन प्लीज डू वेरीफाई फ्रॉम आवर लाइब्रेरी कि हमारे पास ऑलरेडी वो इन्फॉर्मेशन है तो नहीं, हमारी ट्रेडिशनल नॉलेज में वो ऑलरेडी है तो नहीं कि नीम से आपकी बॉडी साफ होती है. अभी हमने देखा कोविड के टाइम पे यूज ऑफ अश्वगंधा, मुलैठी एंड व्हाट नॉट. सो दिस इज ऑल आवर ट्रेडिशनल नॉलेज. ये कहीं भी आपकी दवाइयों में नहीं लिखा हुआ है, एलोपैथी में नहीं मिलेगा ये आपको, राइट. बट दिस इज समथिंग विच वी हैव यूज्ड, राइट, विच वी हैव बीन यूजिंग फ्रॉम ईयर्स. बहुत सारी चीजें आपकी माउथ टू माउथ चलती हुई आ रही है, जनरेशन टू जनरेशन. सो ये इसके बारे में क्वेश्चन है यहाँ पे. सो ट्रेडिशनल नॉलेज डिजिटल लाइब्रेरी इज एन इनिशिएटिव ऑफ इंडिया टू प्रिवेंट द मिस अप्रोप्रिएशन ऑफ ट्रेडिशनल मेडिसिन नॉलेज एट द इंटरनेशनल पेटेंट ऑफिस. बिल्कुल सही बात है, अभी जो मैंने आपको बताया वही यहाँ पे लिखा हुआ है. सो दिस स्टेटमेंट इज करेक्ट. वैसे भी बहुत ही जेनरिक स्टेटमेंट है, अगर आपको ट्रेडिशनल नॉलेज डिजिटल लाइब्रेरी के बारे में पता है तो यही काम है उनका, बहुत ही जेनरिक लैंग्वेज है. द इंफॉर्मेशन ऑन ट्रेडिशनल नॉलेज इज अवेलेबल इन अ डिजिटाइज्ड फॉर्म in all the official languages of the United Nations. So here they have done a word play. इस टाइप की स्टेटमेंट में अब उन्होंने बोला कि all the official languages of United Nations. United Nations की 6 official languages हैं, but अभी मैंने आपको बताया कि जो हमने ट्रांसफॉर्म किया है, जो हमने ट्रांसलेट किया है अपनी ट्रेडिशनल नॉलेज को, it has been done in 5 languages, right? So this statement is wrong. और अभी हम उन्हें कंपेयर भी करेंगे. I'll show you the languages कि UN वाली सारी हैं कि नहीं है. Then traditional knowledge is an integral to the cultural identity of the social groups in which it operates and is present. Again a very generic statement which has to be correct, right? UPSC में भी ऐसी generic statements आती हैं, जैसे आपने पहली देखी और तीसरी देखी, बहुत सिंपल है. दूसरी में क्या किया गया है, फैक्ट के ऊपर प्ले किया गया है. सो ये आपको फैक्ट पता होगा तो सही है, नहीं पता होगा तो आपका गलत हो सकता है. बट ये और ये स्टेटमेंट अगर आपको ऐसी चीजें दिख रही हैं, विच इज बेसिकली आपको पढ़ के समझ आ रहा है कि इंटीग्रल टू द कल्चरल आइडेंटिटी ऑफ द सोशल ग्रुप इन विच इट ऑपरेट्स, दैट इज करेक्ट, राइट. WHO ग्लोबल सेंटर फॉर ट्रेडिशनल मेडिसिन, WHO GCTM, is to be set up in हिमाचल प्रदेश. अगेन अ वेरी फैक्चुअल इन्फॉर्मेशन. सो आपने देखा कि यहाँ पे दूसरे को स्टेटमेंट भी फैक्चुअल थी और चौथी भी फैक्चुअल थी. नाउ इट हैज नॉट बीन सेट अप इन हिमाचल प्रदेश, बट इट हैज बीन सेट अप in Gujarat, Jamnagar, Gujarat, right? It was in the news last year, not this year, but yes, it has been set up, or it is being set up in Gujarat, right? So this is also wrong. Now, if you try to find the answer, they are asking that how many statements is or are correct. So they have taken a idea from the last year UPSC paper. Only one statement correct, only two statement correct, three correct, or four correct. So only two statements are correct, and those two are 1 and 4. Right? Those, sorry, 1 and 3. 2 and 4 are wrong, and both are factual, and the 1 and 3 are generic. So आपको ये भी पता चल जाता कि ये दोनों ठीक है, और अगर फैक्ट नहीं होते आपके पास यहाँ पे, तब भी आप इसे आंसर नहीं कर पाते. बस आप ये कर पाते कि आप इसको एलिमिनेट कर देते कि सर सिर्फ 1 तो नहीं है, बट 2 या 2 से ज्यादा ठीक है. अब वो 3 भी हो सकती हैं, 4 भी हो सकती हैं, या 2 भी हो सकती है. सो यू नीड टू नो द फैक्ट टू आंसर सच काइंड ऑफ क्वेश्चंस. यहाँ पे हम जो फैक्ट्स की बात कर रहे हैं वो यहाँ पे हम देख सकते हैं. Traditional knowledge digital library has overcome the language format barrier by systematically and scientifically converting and structuring the available content of the ancient text of Indian system medicines, that is Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani and Soya Rigpa, right? So as well as Yoga, basically ये पांचों हैं इसमें. They have covered this. Homeopathy they haven't mentioned on their website also. Into 5 international languages. कौन सी 5 international languages हैं? English, Japanese, French, German and Spanish. UN की 6 official languages हैं. So in these 6 official languages we have Arabic and Chinese, which have not been covered over here. Then English, French, Russian and Spanish is there, right? Even Russian we have not covered, right? So they are not same. Plus UN की 6 official language हैं. यहाँ से आपका एक और क्वेश्चन तैयार हो रहा है. In case पूछा जाए कभी पेपर में, तो आपको पता होना चाहिए that there are 6 official languages under UN: Arabic, Chinese, English, फ्रेंच, रशियन एंड स्पेनिश, राइट? एट प्रेजेंट अगर हम बात करें तो मैंने जैसे कि आपको बताया TKDL इज अवेलेबल टू 15 पेटेंट ऑफिसेस, राइट? सारे पेटेंट ऑफिसेस को वो इंफॉर्मेशन अवेलेबल नहीं कराई गई है. इट हैज बीन मेड अवेलेबल टू 15 पेटेंट ऑफिसेस, जहां पे आप देखेंगे कि जो मेजर कंट्रीज है जहां पे रिसर्च ज्यादा होती है. द नेम ऑफ दोज कंट्रीज इज नॉट इंपॉर्टेंट, दैट्स व्हाई इट हैज नॉट बीन पुट ओवर हियर. और ये TKDL की एक्सेस के साथ वो क्या कर सकते हैं? दे कैन नॉट प्रोवाइड इट आउटसाइड, राइट? दे कैन, दिस इज ओनली फॉर देयर पर्पस कि या तो आप साइटेशन में यूज कर सकते हैं, या फिर आप इसे चेक करने के लिए यूज कर सकते हैं कि जो आपके पास पेटेंट फाइल किया गया है वो ऑलरेडी कहीं हमारी ट्रेडिशनल नॉलेज से तो चुरा के नहीं दिया गया, राइट? हैज इट नॉट बीन कॉपीड फ्रॉम देयर, राइट? सो दैट इज द पर्पस ऑफ इट. नाउ मूविंग टू द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. With reference to annual status of education report, ASER, consider the following statement. A very important report, and it was basically stopped, or there was some kind of a stoppage due to COVID in between, and this is related to your education sector. So आपका performance grading index हो गया, ASER हो गया. These are the two major reports that we see continuously with respect to education sector in India. जो आपका performance grading index है, एक वो आप देख सकते हैं, और एक ASER. यहाँ पे क्वेश्चन किसके ऊपर पूछा गया है? ASER के ऊपर पूछा गया है. सो इट्स एन एनुअल नेशनल सर्वे कंडक्टेड बाय मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एजुकेशन. सो दैट स्टेटमेंट इज रॉन्ग. इट इज नॉट कंडक्टेड बाय मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एजुकेशन, इट इज कंडक्टेड बाय एन NGO नेम प्रथम, राइट? सो NGO प्रथम जो है वो इन्हें कंडक्ट कराते हैं. सो फर्स्ट स्टेटमेंट इज रॉन्ग. इट इज अ स्कूल बेस्ड सर्वे कंडक्टेड फॉर बोथ रूरल एंड अर्बन स्कूल्स. अगेन वेरी इंफॉर्मेटिव लाइन, बट अगर आपको पता होगा तो ही आप बता पाएंगे. बट द स्टेटमेंट इज रॉन्ग. क्यों ये गलत है? क्योंकि इस सर्वे की USP है दैट इट इज नॉट अ स्कूल बेस्ड सर्वे. इसकी USP ही ये है कि इट इज नॉट अ स्कूल बेस्ड सर्वे, इट इज अ हाउस होल्ड बेस्ड सर्वे, गोइंग टू द हाउस होल्ड इन द रूरल एरियाज, कवरिंग as many districts as possible. Not all the houses, obviously it's a survey, but वहां पे वो क्या करते हैं? हाउस होल्ड में जाके इंफॉर्मेशन लेते हैं स्कूल के बारे में, सो दैट दे कैन गेट द फैक्ट्स करेक्ट, राइट? वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट सर्वे, राइट? सो ये स्टेटमेंट भी आपकी गलत हो जाती है. As per the 2022 survey, the overall enrollment rate for the 6 to 18 age group has been increased since 2014. So this statement is again factual but correct. It has been increasing since 2010, right? 14 से भी कंटिन्यूस हमने इंक्रीज ही देखा है. Although आप इसमें if you analyze this, you might have marked wrong कि आपको लग सकता है कि सर कोविड आया था, स्कूल्स बंद थे, एनरोलमेंट रेशियोज रुक गए थे, लोगों ने स्कूल में एडमिशन नहीं लिए थे, बट द रिपोर्ट इज ऑफ 2022 एंड दे हैव सेड that no, the enrollment ratio has increased, and I think the overall increase is of around 7%, right? So only third statement is correct and first two are wrong, but the question is asking what? Question is asking which are not correct. Very important thing, हम generally क्या करते हैं, not को भूल जाते हैं, so that is why I focus on these kind of things, right? So not correct कौन सी है, पहली और दूसरी not correct है, so the answer will be A. So the answer will be A. Now I have given some information over here that you can see, because here they have asked one fact only, right? But there can be other facts that can be asked which have been covered by the newspaper with this report. So here are some findings of the report. First finding is noted increase in the proportion of children who attended private tuition classes outside school has been identified in the report. इन्होंने बताया कि 2010 से लेके और अभी तक continuously there has been an increase in the number of students which are taking tuitions outside, right? ये आपकी मेंस में भी बहुत अच्छे काम आएंगे ऐसे पॉइंट्स लिखने के लिए कि as per ASCR report the kind of school education either it has become too competitive or the school education is not relevant or sufficient, because of which more and more people are going out for the tuition, right? Or their income is increasing. There can be the other probability. You can use the statement in multiple ways, but yes, that is one thing that has happened. Nearly all states saw the proportion of students taking some form of paid classes outside of school, with some exceptions. Some exceptions कौन से हैं? गुजरात, कर्नाटका, तमिलनाडु, केरला एंड त्रिपुरा. इन 6 स्टेट्स को छोड़ के मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द स्टेट्स के अंदर यू विल फाइंड दैट द पॉपुलेशन समवेयर बिटवीन 10 to 30, 40, 50, 60% is going out for tuitions, paid tuitions, right? Except for these 6 states. Then one more important point, right? Attendance pattern both for children and teachers have remained steady over the time. The report stated 72% of children's attendance in India, right? अगर आप majority of the states देखेंगे, so they are basically leaving these 3 states over here where the attendance is in the range of 50 to 60. Rest all the schools have attendance of above 60, and majority of the South Indian states over here you can see they have attendance of 80 to 90 or 80 to 100, you can say, right? Both the greens you can include, right? Then next point is toilets for girls has increased in the schools. 68.4% of schools had usable girls toilet in 2022, rising from 66.4% in 2018. So almost a 2% increase. Libraries has increased. 44% of schools had books other than textbooks being used by students. This increased from 37% in 2018 to 44%. Right? Playgrounds have increased in the school. Right? Around a 2% increase has been there in the playgrounds in the school. Then rise in presence of smartphones. Because of COVID, you can say, because of technology or easy accessibility, cheaper accessibility. Now the use of smartphones and the access to smartphones has increased. So nearly 3/4 of the houses said that they had smartphones, compared to a little over 1/3 of all the houses having smartphones since 2018. So आप देखिए 4 साल के गैप में this number has transformed from 1/3 to 3/4, right? 33% से 75% लोगों के पास households में they have got smartphones now, right? 74.8% households said that they have a smartphone in 2022 compared to 36% in 2018. 88.1% of these households has internet available, right? Again, thanks to the competition that we have, the internet availability, access, and the competition की वजह से prices are so low that now the access of internet is there, right? Then you can see over here जो आपकी information पूछी भी गई है, ASR is a citizen-led rural survey led by प्रथम Foundation. So it is not urban, it is rural. मैंने जैसे कि आपको बताया कि गांव कवर करते हैं, rural areas कवर करते हैं, done by the प्रथम Foundation, which is an NGO, right? Now moving to the next question. With reference to millets and their production, consider the following statement. These were among the first crops to be domesticated in India. ये नहीं बोला जा रहा है कि this is the first crop, right? So आप confuse मत करना कि सर उस हिस्ट्री की बुक में ये पहली क्रॉप लिखी थी. This is a statement, if you see, they have been taken from the newspaper, just like UPSC. So this is correct that your millets has been the first crops or among the first crops to be domesticated in India. They have been domesticated during Indus Valley civilization around 3000 BC. Right? Indus Valley civilization around 3000 BC, and not just in India. ऐसा नहीं है कि सर मिलेट सिर्फ इंडिया में ही होते थे क्या? There are other countries too, like if you see West Africa, China and Japan were also home to the indigenous variety of crops. Right? So not just India, but you can say West Africa, China and Japan. They also have the indigenous variety of their own millet crops. Then in 2018, millets were rebranded as Nutri cereals by the Indian government. This statement is also correct. This statement is also correct. 2018 was the Indian year of millets. 2023, why millets is now in so much of news? 2023 has been declared as the International Year of Millets. International Year of Millets. And why Indian government is focusing so much? Because it was the Indian government which asked for it to declare 2023 as the International Year of Millets, and it was in 2021 that your United Nations General Assembly, on demand of India, declared year 2023 as the International Year of Millets. But in India, we had a National Year of Millets, and that was 2018. इससे पहले हमने 2018 में we celebrated National Year of Millets, right? It was your National Year of Millets. And इसी साल में गवर्नमेंट ने क्या किया? मिलेट्स को न्यूट्री सीरियल्स बोल दिया. They have declared millets as the nutri cereals. Why they have been declared as nutri cereals? क्या है इनके अंदर ऐसा खास? So basically, these millets contain different kind of proteins, vitamins, fats and all, and for which they have been referred as nutri cereals. So again, this percentage you can basically remember. So they contain 7 to 12% protein. They contain 7 to 12% protein, 2 to 5% fat, 7 to 12% protein, 2 to 5% fat. They contain 65 to 75% carbohydrate, 65 to 75% carbohydrates, and 15 to 12% of your dietary fiber, right? And that is why they are referred as nutri cereals. That is why they are being referred as nutri cereals, right? Because of all these things. Now millets were used to be a food for the poor, right? This is an apprehension because of which the government is saying that people are not accepting it so easily. But now if you see, the image has changed. Millets is either a food for poor, अगर ज्वार बाजरा रागी की हम बात करें, but वहीं पे if you give it a name called multigrain, then it becomes a food for riches. मिडिल क्लास जो है वो रह गई है बेचारी. क्यों? क्योंकि उसे लगता है कि अगर हम ज्वार बाजरा खाएंगे तो हम गरीब प्रतीत होंगे, और मल्टीग्रेन्स लेने के लिए their expenditure will increase, right? So it has been reaching to the poor and the riches and the middle class where majority of people stand. वहां पे इसकी एक्सेप्टेंस अभी इतनी नहीं है, और इसी के लिए इसी को ट्राई करने के लिए इसे किया जा रहा है. सर क्यों हम मिलेट्स की एक्सेप्टेंस को बढ़ाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं? बिकॉज दे आर इजी टू ग्रो, दे आर हाई इन न्यूट्रिएंट्स. एंड इफ यू सी इंडिया की अगर हम बात करते हैं ग्लोबल हंगर इंडेक्स या मेल न्यूट्रिशन की बात करते हैं, जहां पे वी डोंट हैव अ बैलेंस्ड डाइट, or we are not able to provide balanced diet to all the people in India because of our economic conditions, still being a developing nation. So wahan pe these millets can be a very good tool to provide a balanced diet to the people. So question aata hai कि सर फिर नेशनल फूड सिक्योरिटी एक्ट के अंदर हम मिलेट्स क्यों नहीं देते हैं? सो अंडर नेशनल फूड सिक्योरिटी एक्ट वी आर नॉट डिस्ट्रीब्यूटिंग मिलेट्स, और वी हैव नॉट रिटन मिलेट्स राइट नाउ, बट वी हैव रिटन कोर्स ग्रेन एंड अंडर विच वी आर गिविंग मिलेट्स, राइट? सो अगर आपसे पूछा जाए कि आपके नेशनल फूड सिक्योरिटी एक्ट के अंदर डज द वर्ड मिलेट इज देयर, सो आंसर वुड बी नो. दे हैव मेंशन्ड कोर्स ग्रेन, एंड बिकॉज ऑफ दिस कोर्स ग्रेन under section 2 clause 5, they have mentioned coarse grains under section 2 clause 5, and with the help of which they are able to supply millets under the National Food Security Act also, right? So a very important thing, millets directly is not mentioned in the National Food Security Act, right? Now coming back to the question, so this statement is correct. Millets have a high glycemic index as compared to rice and wheat. So this statement is wrong. They have done nothing, but यहाँ पे क्या किया है इन्होंने? They have low glycemic index. Basically, they have low sugar content and are preferred by the people who are having diabetes, or they can be given to the people having diabetes. So millets have low glycemic index as compared to rice and wheat. The major millet producing states in India are Rajasthan and Karnataka. Yes, correct. These are not the only two states, but yes, there are other states too. But ये statement अपने आप में ठीक है. So 1, 2 and 4 are correct. So if you see, the answer will be A, that is 1, 2 and 4, right? I will just give you few other facts. जैसे यहाँ पे अभी हमने कुछ facts की बात की. आपका जो minimum support price है, that is given for 3 millet crops only. What are those 3 millet crops? These are ज्वार, बाजरा and रागी. इन तीनों के लिए आपका एमएसपी दिया जाता है, राइट? सॉरी, एमएसपी दिया जाता है ज्वार, बाजरा एंड रागी के लिए, राइट? रेस्ट यू ऑल नो, इन इंडिया मिलेट्स आर जनरली खारिफ क्रॉप, राइट? खारिफ क्रॉप्स हैं, दीज आर खारिफ क्रॉप्स. योर बाजरा, रागी, योर बाजरा, ज्वार एंड रागी इसी प्रोपोर्शन में ग्रो किए जाते हैं. सबसे ज्यादा इंडिया के अंदर क्या होता है? बाजरा, देन आपका ज्वार एंड रागी, एंड दे टोटल कंस्टिट्यूट 7% ऑफ द टोटल कल्टिवेबल लैंड, टोटल कल्टिवेबल लैंड, राइट? और ये इसी रेशियो में, मतलब ये इसी सीक्वेंस में उगते हैं. बाजरा सबसे ज्यादा होता है इंडिया के अंदर, फॉलोड बाय ज्वार एंड देन फॉलोड बाय Ragi. India is the largest producer of millets. Write down one more statement. You can write it down. India is the largest producer of millet. Largest producer of millets. Right? India is the largest producer of millets. Right? I think this information will be useful in your prelims if there is a different kind of questions. Then there are some pseudo millets or there are some micro millets. So just go through the names. Like for minor millets, the names are Kangni, Kakun, China, Koda. These are all minor millets. So in case UPSC ऐसा पूछ लेता है, recently seen कि आपसे पूछ ले कंगनी, चीना, कोड़ा और सारा और झगोरा, these are what? These are nothing but minor millets, right? सूडो मिलेट्स क्या है हमारे पास? दे आर बकवीट हो गया, आपका कूटू का आटा जिसे हम बोलते हैं, या फिर आपका अमरंथ हो गया जिसे चावलाई बोलते हैं. दीज आर योर सूडो मिलेट्स, राइट? सो सम नेम्स आर देयर इन द न्यूज़पेपर्स. आई हैव जस्ट मेंशन्ड इट ओवर हियर so that in case there is a question in prelims, you will be able to answer that. Now moving to the next question. Right, so here also you can see state by state they have given it over here. You can refer it to this, right? Mainly grown in Maharashtra, Karnataka, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu. Bajra mainly in Rajasthan, UP, Haryana, Gujarat. So ज्वार जो है वो उन states में होती है और जो आपका बाजरा है वो mainly इन states के अंदर होता है, right? Now moving to the last question for this discussion. Recently the Kirit Parekh committee report constituted of which of the following purposes? A very simple question. आपने अगर बिल्कुल भी करंट अफेयर पढ़े हैं, न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ा है, so इससे सिंपल नहीं पूछा जा सकता. It is basically about the gas pricing, focusing on the liquefied petroleum gas being supplied to your houses, or you can say pipeline, basically PNG I would say, not liquefied, I would say PNG and CNG, right? इनकी प्राइसिंग के बारे में बात की गई है, जहां पे बोला गया है कि 2027 तक बेसिकली दे विल नॉट बी मैनेज्ड बाय द गवर्नमेंट, दे विल बी लेफ्ट फ्री. जैसे हमने देखा कि हमारे पेट्रोल और डीजल के प्राइसेस को हमने क्या कर दिया, गवर्नमेंट से बाहर निकाल दिया. नाउ दे आर बेसिकली मार्केट ड्रिवन. इसी तरीके से गैस के प्राइसेस पे भी हम ये करना चाह रहे हैं. And by 2027 they have given a report and recommendations which have been recently accepted by the government. In 2023 only they have been accepted and given the approval, right? So these are the questions that I have to take. Hopefully this discussion will help you in your exam, and hopefully आप लोगों के ये सारे questions ठीक हुए होंगे. So thank you all and all the best from my side. Have a great day.